Welcome to the Hidden Factor in Relationship Disharmony. I'm Marnia Robinson. I'm the author of a book called Cupid's Poisoned Arrow, From Habit to Harmony in Sexual Relationships. I was in 4 weddings as a bride or a bridesmaid. All of us were children of parents who stayed married until death parted them. Yet all of our marriages ended in divorce, and 3 of us have remarried. I wanted to know what was at the bottom of this phenomenon. Exactly why were unions becoming so fragile? Intimate relationships are potentially an enormous source of well-being and even healing. Close, trusted companionship can reduce stress, make wounds heal faster, and even help AIDS patients live longer. Unfortunately, biology has programmed us so that, on average, our romances tend to deteriorate over time, and sometimes very rapidly. In fact, those couples who are natural swans are so rare that researchers refer to them as outliers, or exceptions to the rule. So what is the rule? Studies reveal that after a brief honeymoon period, mates typically find each other more irritating as a marriage continues, for as long as it lasts. Mysteriously, this phenomenon doesn't affect relationships with relatives, pets, or friends. What is different about romantic relationships? Now, tension in intimate relationships can obviously come from many factors, such as money management differences, childhood trauma, or personal eccentricities. But there is also a hidden biological factor that magnifies them all. It shows up as an uneasy, often subconscious, feeling of irritation, which makes any other challenges more difficult to resolve. And wild as it may seem, this factor could just be the common denominator in behaviors that seem quite unrelated, such as bickering, insensitivity, oversensitivity, infidelity, and sexless marriages. It turns out that this factor has been present in our genetic programming for many millions of years. It's just becoming more obvious now for reasons I'll mention later. In the course of my investigation, I also learned a lot about how to counter this hidden factor, so I'll share that with you too as we go along. Have you ever fallen madly in love, experienced great sex, been sure that you both wanted to stay together forever, and then noticed recurring emotional friction boiling up between you and your beloved? Maybe you have a sense that the honeymoon is over. Perhaps one of you often becomes clingy and demanding while the other feels devoured and needs space. Or maybe you have screaming fights followed by passionate reconciliations. All of these are familiar symptoms of a subconscious alienation, which mates often encounter despite their sincere desire to remain committed and in love. I think of it as the unsuspected poison on Cupid's arrow. It's unsuspected because it's innate. It's a biological program common to all mammals. And if we don't do something to steer around it consciously, it's as automatic as, say, blinking, or the adrenaline rush you get when you're startled, or an allergic reaction to cat dander. As I began digging around to understand why relationships are so fragile, I discovered that the existence of this hidden program and a way to get around the trouble it causes have both been discovered repeatedly in many cultures at various times over thousands of years. But these key insights are usually quickly buried because our mating program is so powerful and so subconscious. Now, however, with the help of modern brain science and evolutionary biology theory, we can look at relationships through a new lens. For me, clues from various professions made the challenge, as well as our options, much clearer. These insights also suggest why humans have been wrestling with the issue of improving harmony in their relationships for a very long time. The fact is, we have 2 conflicting biological programs at work in our love lives. I think of one of them as our mating program. and the other as our bonding program. Let's look at the mating program first. We are mammals, and the typical mammalian mating program looks a lot like this. Start by pursuing a mate or seducing a mate with tremendous drive. Mate furiously. In fact, in some species, vigorous mating helps prepare the female for pregnancy. Then, after repeated copulations, when sexual desire is exhausted, move on to a novel partner. It's worth noting that mammals have no clear idea why they move on when they do. This subconscious program simply makes the former mate look like boiled cabbage, and an unfamiliar potential mate often look like a box of delicious chocolate truffles, at least for a while. How does this program manipulate us so powerfully? It uses changes in neurochemicals in a primitive part of the brain that you're looking at right there, old brain. And this part of the brain operates pretty much the same way in all mammals, uses those same neurochemicals. Now, because of these powerful neurochemicals, pursuing a mate feels great. So does orgasm, because it's the chance to pass on your genes, so you're strongly programmed to engage in these behaviors. If orgasm were the end of the story, lovers would be able to do what comes naturally in the bedroom and live happily ever after. The problem is that sex, and especially the kind with lots of orgasms all around, leading to that feeling of I'm definitely done, isn't an isolated event. In fact, orgasm is the peak of a much longer cycle of subsequent changes deep in this part of the brain, and they can continue for up to 2 weeks. It is these lingering effects that poison our relationship, and we never suspect what really causes it. In some of us, this poison takes effect so rapidly that our romance lasts only for a night. However, as we'll see in a moment, humans are pair bonding mammals. So usually we experience a period of relative relationship bliss, which is supported by a short-lived love potion of brain chemicals designed to keep us together for a while. Once this love potion wears off, our mate can begin to remind us of a top 40s hit we've heard a few too many times. As we grow disillusioned because of this mating program that causes habituation, we're motivated to do just what biology wants us to do. Merge our genes with a new partner, who always looks more exciting than the last one or the current one. Adding a novel partner, or many novel partners as the woman you see there, means another genetic opportunity. This improves the chances that our genes will sail into the future on more than one boat. Of course, we may choose to resist temptation, but that doesn't keep this program from making us resentful and irritable, or wondering if we married the wrong person, or whether we'd feel much better with someone else. And of course, the chances are we would for a while because of the effects of this program. In other words, both the sweet and sour phases of romance improve the chances that our genes will make it into the next generation, even if we are left cynical or brokenhearted. Our genetic mating program is working brilliantly. It just doesn't have our best interest at heart. The powerful drive toward orgasm plays 2 critical roles in our mating program. Fertilization, that one we've always known about, that's pretty obvious, and habituation.